Welcome to the Boeing 787 Flight Management and Navigation lesson. In this lesson, you will learn how the navigation systems operate individually and together in their relationship to flight management system operation. Aircraft navigation is a multifaceted task that is accomplished using the following systems: Global Positioning System, or GPS, Air Data Reference System, or ADRS, Inertial Reference System, or IRS, Radio Navigation Systems, Flight Management System, or FMS, ATC Transponder, and Weather Radar. The main components of the FMS are three flight management computers, or FMCs. The FMCs are primarily controlled using Control Display Units, or CDUs. The CDUs are graphic components and can be displayed on any of the multifunction displays, or MFDs. CDUs are controlled using two cursor control devices, or CCDs, and two multifunction keypads, or MFKs. Additional navigation controls are located on the Tuning and Control Panel, or TCP, and the Alerting and Transponder Control Panel, or ATP. The Air Data Reference System calculates altitude and airspeed data and sends it to a number of systems, including displays, FMS, flight controls, engine controls, and other systems requiring inertial or air data. Air data is sensed by the left, center, and right pitot probes and static ports. Individual air data modules, or ADMs, sense pitot-static analog pressure and convert it to digital values. These digital values are evaluated and voted on by the ADRS, which then sends trusted air data to the PFDs. In addition to the pitot-static system, the ADRS receives data from two angle of attack sensors, a total air temperature probe, and engine TAT sensors. Data from the center pitot-static system is also sent to the Integrated Standby Flight Display, or ISFD. If voted ADRS air data is invalid, backup airspeed and backup altitude information is displayed on the PFDs. Backup airspeed is based on angle of attack and data from the IRS. Backup altitude is provided by GPS data. If both voted and backup air data is unavailable, ISFD altitude and airspeed will be displayed on both PFDs. The 787 uses multiple ground-based navigation radio receivers, including two VOR radios, two DME radios, and two ILS radios. The VOR, DME, and ILS radios are automatically tuned by the FMC. However, they can also be tuned manually on the nav radio page on the CDU. You can display course, bearing, and distance information on each PFD and ND. Line 1 on the nav radio page shows VOR left and right tuning information, including frequency, tuning status, identifier, and current radial from the station to the airplane. The tuning status indicates how the frequency was selected. Possible statuses include P. Procedure auto-tuning means the FMC has selected the best nav aid for approach and departure guidance. R. Route auto-tuning means the FMC has selected a nav aid on the active route for position updating. A, auto-tuning, indicates the FMC has auto-tuned the radio for best position orientation. And M, manual, is displayed when the crew has entered a radio frequency. A station can be tuned by entering either the three-letter identifier or the frequency. When using either method, a radio can be entered to display a course on the ND. Courses can also be entered or changed in the course window. To return a receiver to FMC auto-tuning, simply delete the manual tuned frequency. Tuned VOR stations are displayed in green on the ND. If a course is entered on the nav radio page, it is shown as a dashed green line. If the VOR left or right selection is checked on the ND menu, the station identifier and DME is displayed on the lower left or right corner of the screen. In addition, the ND will display a green VOR pointer. VOR left pointers are shown as a single green line. VOR right pointers are a wider double green line. The FMC will auto-tune the ILS frequency and course based on the approach selected in the FMC. Manual tuning of the radio is also possible. The ILS field on the nav radio page shows the selected frequency, course, and status. If the ILS is not being used and not tuned, Park is displayed in the frequency window. When the receiver is tuned, but not yet being used, Park is shown next to the frequency and course. A is shown when the FMC has auto-tuned the radio. M indicates the ILS has been manually tuned. ILS frequency, course, and DME information displays on the PFD when an approach is selected to the active route, and the frequency has been manually tuned, or the approach has been selected and the frequency has been auto-tuned, and the airplane is less than 150 nautical miles from the destination airport, or less than 50 nautical miles from the top of descent, or the FMC is in descent mode. Localizer and glide slope scales display when receivers are tuned to an ILS frequency. Pointers display when the localizer and glide slope signals are received. The localizer and glide slope pointers fill in solid magenta when the deviation is within 2.5 dots from the scale center. If nav performance scales are in view, localizer and glide slope pointers will be displayed white. An expanded localizer scale displays during approach when the airplane is within 1/2 dot of localizer deviation. The 787 is equipped with two GPS receivers, GPS left and GPS right. The GPS receivers are independent of one another, are tuned automatically, and supply very accurate position data to the FMC. The IRS adds inertial position to this data before sending it to the FMC. If the IRS becomes inoperative, the GPS will supply position and track data directly to the FMC. In this case, no ICAS message will be displayed. Individual GPS position data can be found on CDU page POSREF 4 of 4. When position is selected on the ND menu, symbols representing raw GPS left and right positions are displayed on the ND. If the GPS receivers are calculating the same position, a single symbol is displayed. In the event the GPS systems are inoperative, a prompt on CDU page POSREF 3 of 4 can inhibit GPS updating to the FMC. The IRS is made up primarily of two inertial reference units, or IRUs, and two attitude and heading reference units, or AHRUs. These components calculate the following airplane data: airspeed, attitude, heading, and position. This information is sent to and used by the following systems: displays, flight management system, flight controls, engine controls, and other systems. The IRS is controlled by the left and right IRS switches on the IRS panel. Each IRU works with the GPS data to provide hybrid GPS inertial position inputs to the FMC. The IRUs can be powered from either the battery or hot battery bus. Initial power-up of the IRUs requires the IRS switches to be on, as well as power being supplied from the battery bus. When these conditions are met, the IRUs begin a self-alignment phase. If the IRS switches are moved to off for more than 30 seconds, the units must complete a full realignment cycle before the airplane can be moved. After alignment, if primary power fails or is removed from the IRUs, the on battery light illuminates, and a warning horn sounds in the nose wheel on the ground only. This alerts the crew that the IRS is depleting the battery. When power is initially applied to the IRUs, they enter the align mode and the ICAS memo message IRU align mode left and right is displayed. The alignment process takes approximately 7 to 10 minutes at mid-latitudes and up to 17 minutes at high latitudes. During this process, the airplane should not be moved. Normally, GPS provides position data required for IRU alignment. If the GPS is unavailable, present position can be entered on the set inertial position line on the POSINIT page. When the alignment is complete, the IRS changes to the navigate mode for normal operation. If the airplane stops for an extended period, the IRS enters an auto realign mode that refines airplane alignment until it moves again. This is done by resetting velocity and acceleration errors to 0. A new lat-long position can be entered on the POSINIT page during a realignment. The IRUs also have the ability to complete an alignment in flight after an interruption in normal power. After power to the IRUs is restored, the system realigns automatically. Attitude information will be available after a few seconds, while full navigation capability is restored within 10 minutes. GPS data is necessary for this feature to function. If GPS is unavailable, the system will not align. The AHRUs, like the IRUs, provide a stable source of the following data: attitude, heading, and rate. This data is sent to the flight controls, displays, and other using systems. Even though the AHRUs do not provide an independent inertial position, they do increase the accuracy of GPS position data. In the event both IRUs fail, the NAV IRU ICAS advisory message displays. The FMC continues to receive hybrid GPS inertial position data, but in this case, the AHRUs are used to supplement GPS position. If the entire IRS fails, both AHRUs and both IRUs are inoperative. The ICAS caution message, NAV inertial system, is displayed. In this case, the GPS output provides necessary position and track data for the FMC to continue operations. Flight planning, navigation, and performance information is still available. Coupled LNAV and VNAV operations, however, are not available with the IRS inoperative. The crew should periodically use the Set Heading prompt on the CDU POSINIT page to sync the display to the standby compass magnetic heading. The FMS performs a wide range of functions, including navigation, in-flight performance optimization, automatic fuel monitoring, and providing data to the flight deck displays. The FMS uses data from the following sources to provide flight path control commands: the navigation database, airplane position, and supporting systems. FMS calculated guidance is displayed on the ND, the airspeed indicator, the altimeter, and thrust indicators. The heart of the FMS is 3 independent flight management computers. During normal operations, one FMC is tasked with all flight management functions while the other FMCs monitor. The second FMC is ready to replace the first FMC if a system fault occurs. After the second FMC is active, the third FMC becomes available as a backup. The FMCs are controlled using the Interactive Graphic CDU, which can be displayed on any of the MFDs. In the event all 3 FMCs are inoperative, backup navigation capability is possible using the alternate navigation feature of the Tuning and Control panel. If normal power is available, alternate navigation is accessed by pressing the Nav key on any of the 3 TCPs. When on standby power, only the captain's TCP is available for alternate navigation. Alternate navigation data is displayed on the TCPs and the ISFD. While autopilot and autothrottles may be available, LNAV and VNAV modes are inoperative. The communication system allows two-way data link communications between the FMCs and airline ground stations. Ground stations can indicate either company dispatch or air traffic control. A downlink is the term for when data is transferred from the airplane to the ground station. Uplink is the opposite, information sent from the ground to the aircraft. Downlinks can occur manually or automatically. Uplinks are at the discretion of the airline operations dispatcher or in response to a downlink request. Request prompts on CDU pages will communicate to the ground station that an uplink is desired. Report prompts downlink relevant information on the associated page, such as route or position reports. The FMC COM menu is a quick reference for navigating to CDU pages that feature a report prompt. For more information on data link operations, consult the Communications lesson. Heading reference for the AFDS, FMCs, NDs, and PFDs can be either magnetic or true north. Due to magnetic variation, the system should reference true north when operating in polar regions. The heading reference switch on the overhead panel controls north reference. In normal, the aircraft will automatically change between true north and magnetic north reference depending on aircraft latitude. When operating in polar regions, the system automatically switches to reference true north. Pressing the heading reference switch illuminates true and causes the system to reference true north regardless of latitude.